I had no idea a haircut would be the first crack in everything I thought was stable. But I'll get to that. My name's Avery. I'm 30, I live in Portland, and I've been married to Nathan for 3 years. We both work full-time, me as a project coordinator for a construction firm, him as a data analyst. We've always split bills evenly, kept our accounts transparent, and helped each other when things got tight. Ours wasn't a dramatic kind of love. It was steady, predictable, trustworthy. That's what I thought anyway. The shift started on a Tuesday night, over leftover stir-fry and 2 beers. Nathan was uncharacteristically quiet. Finally, he set down his fork and said, "Hey, I've been thinking. Do you think we could start sending some money to Lena?" I blinked. "Your sister?" "Yeah." Just for a little while, I tilted my head. "What's going on?" He sighed. "She co-signed a loan for a friend, Haley. And now Haley's completely ghosted. Lena's stuck with everything. She didn't want to tell Mom, but she called me crying. I think she's in real trouble. That surprised me. Lena was sharp, career-focused, and had always seemed financially sound. She worked for a corporate law firm in Seattle, wore blazers like armor, and never missed a birthday. She didn't mention anything to me. She didn't want to worry you. Or anyone. He rubbed his face. She said we're the only people she can trust. I was thinking maybe $2,000 a month, just until she's back on her feet. I'd cover half. My stomach tensed. That was a lot. More than we'd ever offered anyone before. That's a pretty serious amount. I know. But she's family. She's proud. If she's admitting she needs help, it's bad. Family. That word landed with weight. Nathan's family had always treated me kindly. I lost both my parents in college. Lena was the closest thing I had to a sister. So I said yes. That weekend, we reworked our budget. I canceled my gym membership and paused my monthly art supply box. We stopped ordering out. I passed on drinks with coworkers and started packing sad desk lunches again. Nathan picked up more contract work, and I started tutoring part-time online just to give us some breathing room. We sent the first $2,000 the following Monday. No thank you. No text. But I told myself Lena was probably too overwhelmed to think about that. We kept going. By the end of month 2, I was exhausted. I hadn't replaced a broken pair of boots, skipped my biannual dental cleaning, and turned down a girls' weekend my best friend had been planning for months. Nathan, for his part, seemed even more distant. He worked late, spent more time on his phone, and barely touched me in bed. I tried to brush it off. Financial stress affects everyone differently. And then came the breaking point. I had a wedding to attend, an old friend's black tie affair. I hadn't done anything for myself in months, so I booked a simple haircut at a discount salon. Nothing fancy. $40 total, which I covered from a side editing gig I'd picked up. When I walked in the door that Friday night, hair freshly trimmed, Nathan glanced up from the couch and said, "You went to the salon?" I smiled. "Yeah, it was way overdue." "With what money?" I blinked. "I did that freelance editing project, remember? That check came in. I used part of it." He stood up. "So you can afford a haircut, but not to help with the internet bill." "I paid my share." "Last week, you said things were tight. Then you show up like this?" He gestured toward me. "Are you trying to impress someone?" "Excuse me?" "I mean, you've been acting different. Going quiet. Dressing up. I'm not stupid." My heart dropped. "Nathan, do you seriously think I'm cheating?" He didn't answer. That was enough. I marched to the drawer, yanked out my latest pay stub, and slammed it on the counter. "This is what I made." "See that deduction? That's my share of Lena's money. You know what's left after rent, bills, groceries? Not much. I used $40 of my money so I could feel decent at a wedding I didn't even want to go to." He didn't look at me. "Don't accuse me of hiding things when I've been bending over backwards to support your family." Nathan muttered, "I'm sorry." But it felt forced. Dismissive, like a placeholder to end the conversation. We'd never fought like that before. Not once. Later that night, he was already asleep when I sat on the couch in the dark, running numbers again. Everything lined up. The money had been going to Lena's account every month. But something felt off, deeply off. Not once had she reached out. Not even a thank you. Not a word. Not a mention to me or even a check-in to say she was doing okay. And I started wondering, what if she never asked for help at all? It wasn't like her to stay quiet. That's when I decided I wasn't going to ask Nathan any more questions. I'd go talk to Lena directly. If she was truly in trouble, I'd hear it from her. And if she wasn't, well, I'd have bigger questions to ask. I messaged her the next day, casually suggesting we grab coffee while I was passing through Seattle for a supplier visit. She responded almost instantly. That sounds great. Actually, there's something I wanted to talk to you about too. I hesitated. Oh? Yeah. The Caribbean trip. I wanted to run some ideas by you. I'm so excited. The silence that followed buzzed in my ears. Caribbean trip? I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed, looking forward to catching up. I hit send, then lowered the phone and sat back, staring at the wall like I'd just been slapped. A Caribbean trip. This whole time, I'd been skipping meals and sweating over coupons. And Lena wanted to talk about white sand beaches? Something was very, very wrong. And I intended to find out exactly what. I drove to Seattle with my stomach in knots. The message Lena sent, I wanted to talk about the Caribbean trip, played over and over in my head. There was no mention of debt. No thank you. Just a breezy reference to some tropical getaway. I didn't tell Nathan I was going. He thought I had a staff training seminar in Beaverton. I didn't correct him. The closer I got to Lena's high-rise, the more questions swirled through me. What if I misunderstood? What if the trip was a dream? Not real plans? What if she was in debt and the trip was her way of pretending she wasn't? But deep down, I already knew something was off. Lena opened the door in a loose satin blouse and palazzo pants, barefoot and glowing. Her hair was twisted up effortlessly, and her toenails were painted coral pink. "Avery," she said brightly. "You look tired. Come in." Her condo was clean, minimalist, filled with soft jazz and citrus-scented candles. On the marble kitchen island sat 2 tall glasses with pineapple wedges and umbrellas. "I made rum spritzers," she said. "Just testing Caribbean drink combos." "Thought you might enjoy." "Sure," I said, trying not to let my voice shake. We sat across from each other, and for a moment, it was pleasant. Familiar. Then she said, "So, the cruise." I blinked. "The cruise?" "Yeah. I'm thinking we do at least one private shore excursion, and you've got to promise you'll try snorkeling. The reefs around St. Lucia are unreal." I just stared at her. "Lena, I don't understand." Her smile faltered. "You didn't know?" "Know what?" She set down her drink. "I assumed Nathan told you." "I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks." I kept my expression still. "You two have?" "Yeah. He said you were stretched thin and couldn't join, but that you were totally supportive of him covering the deposit. So I went ahead and booked Wait." I felt my throat tighten. "Nathan gave you money for a Caribbean cruise?" Lena's brow furrowed. "Well, no, not exactly. He said you two were pooling funds again soon, and he'd wire his share before the end of the month." "Why?" I stared at her. "Lena, we've been sending you money every month. 2,000, 1,000 each from our salaries. Nathan said you co-signed a loan for Haley and that you were in serious debt. He said you called him crying." Lena froze. There was a long silence. Then she laughed. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It was sharp. Disbelieving. "What? Haley?" "I haven't co-signed anything for her. She moved to Austin 6 months ago. We still text. There's no loan." My skin prickled. "So, you're not in debt?" She gave me a confused look. "I mean, I have a mortgage and a car note, but that's normal. I've never missed a payment." I set down my drink. Then, "Why has Nathan been telling me you're drowning financially?" Lena slowly pushed her chair back. She stood up and walked over to her phone, tapping the screen. "I haven't asked him for money," she said, scrolling. "The last time we texted was about our aunt's birthday." "That was a month ago?" She turned the screen to show me. Sure enough, no mention of money, no panic, just emojis and cake photos. "Okay," she said, slowly sitting back down. "Tell me everything. From the beginning, so I did. I told her about the Tuesday dinner, about Nathan's plea to help her, about how I slashed our budget, skipped outings, canceled trips, about the argument over my haircut, and how he looked me in the eye and said she was suffering, and we were her only hope. When I finished, Lena's face had gone hard. "Unbelievable," she muttered. "He played both of us." "I don't get it," I said quietly. "Where's the money going?" "I don't know," she said, "but I want to find out." I swallowed. "Do you want to call him?" She shook her head. "No, not yet. If he lied to you, there's a reason. We need to find out what it is." I stared at her. What do you suggest? Lena leaned in. Her eyes were sharp now, focused. First, stop sending money. Just don't say anything yet. If he asks why, say you'll bring it to me in person next time we meet. Watch how he reacts. I hesitated. If I stop sending money, he'll ask questions. Exactly, she said. Let him. And then let's see if he tries to stop you from talking to me again. What are we even suspecting here? Lena didn't answer right away. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a notepad. I work at a law firm, Avery. I've seen this play out before. People invent crises when they need cover, financial or otherwise. I felt my stomach turn. You think he's hiding something? I think, she said carefully, he's funneling that money somewhere, and I want to know where I looked down at the drink in my hand. I hadn't even taken a sip. We spent the next hour putting together a timeline of transfers, amounts, and Nathan's recent behaviors. Lena was calm and methodical. I tried to stay composed, but inside I was spiraling. Was he gambling, drinking, in some kind of debt? Or was it something worse? That night, I drove home in silence. Nathan was already in bed when I came in. He mumbled, "Hey," but didn't open his eyes. I climbed in quietly beside him, eyes wide open in the dark. The next morning over coffee, I cleared my throat. By the way, I think I'll bring next month's money to Lena in person. I might be heading to Seattle again for work. Nathan stiffened. What? Why? I just figured it'd be easier. We're going to grab lunch. I can hand it over then. He set down his mug. No, you don't have to do that. I'll send it. I don't mind. No, he said, sharper now. Really. I already told her I'd send it next week. It'll just confuse things if you show up with cash. I watched his face carefully. His voice was too tight. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Okay, I said lightly. Just offering. He nodded, but I saw it. The flicker of panic behind his calm. Lena was right. Something was very wrong. And now we were both watching. It wasn't the haircut that broke us. It just exposed what was already rotting underneath. Nathan's reaction to my simple suggestion that I hand the money to Lena in person told me everything I needed to know. He flinched. He panicked. He scrambled to take control. That wasn't the behavior of a man protecting his sister. That was the behavior of a man protecting a secret. And Lena agreed. The next morning she texted me, "Want to take this further? I've got a guy at the firm. Very discreet." I replied with a single word, yes. 2 days later, I found myself sitting across from a private investigator named Joel. Square-jawed, soft-spoken, fast-moving. He didn't ask unnecessary questions, just dates, account numbers, patterns. Within 20 minutes, he had a working theory, and a week later, he had results. I was in the break room at work, stirring oat milk into bad coffee, when he called. "We've got something." My heart kicked. He continued. "Nathan's been making consistent cash withdrawals, always within 24 hours of your salary landing. He's using an unregistered Venmo under a nickname and transferring money to a woman named Clarissa Miles of Froze." "Name doesn't ring a bell?" "No," I said flatly. "What else?" "She lives in a studio apartment in Northeast Portland. He's been seen entering multiple times in the last 2 months. Weekdays, weekends, mornings, nights. Same pattern, different cars. The breath left my lungs. You have proof?" "I do." "I'll send photos to your secure inbox." The inbox pinged minutes later. There they were. Nathan, holding coffee and flowers outside someone else's apartment. Nathan, kissing a woman with long red braids and a camel-colored coat. Nathan, sitting on her balcony, holding a wine glass, barefoot, smiling. I forwarded the images to Lena. Her response came immediately. "When are we calling him?" The answer was, "That weekend." We invited him to Lena's condo under the pretense that she wanted to thank him for helping her through such a difficult time. He agreed without hesitation. Probably thought he was about to get another round of praise and ego strokes. Instead, he walked into a trap. Lena opened the door. Nathan entered cheerfully, holding a bottle of rosé. He stopped short when he saw me sitting on the couch, arms crossed. His smile faltered. "Hey, what's going on?" "You tell us," Lena said coolly, shutting the door behind him. "I thought this was just It is," I cut in. "A family meeting." He hesitated. "Look, if this is about the money—" "Oh, it is," I said. "It's exactly about the money." Lena walked to the coffee table and opened a folder. Inside were printouts, bank transfers, screenshots, Venmo receipts, photos, surveillance logs. All of it. Nathan glanced down, then back up at me. What the hell is this? I stood. My hands were cold, but my voice didn't shake. You've been lying to me for 3 months. You said Lena was in debt. You said she needed help. But the money went to your girlfriend, to Clarissa, to her rent, to her wine, to her fake smile, and your double life. No, I snapped. You don't get to explain. You don't get to spin this. You lied. You took my money, my trust, my sacrifices, and fed them to someone else's fantasies. Nathan looked at Lena. You spied on me? Lena laughed bitterly. I investigated you. There's a difference. You used my name. You made your wife think I was broken and desperate. You used my face as a cover. I didn't mean... Save it, I said. You're disgusting. He turned to me. Avery, please. I messed up. It didn't mean anything. I didn't know how to ask for help. You asked for help just fine, I said. You just pretended it was for someone else. He sank into the armchair, suddenly deflated. It was only for a little while. Clarissa, she understood me. She listened. Oh, how noble, Lena said, rolling her eyes. Was she listening while you stole money from your own wife? Nathan's voice dropped. I didn't steal. You lied, I said. You manipulated, and you took what wasn't yours. He looked up at me, desperate. We can fix this. You and me. I already fixed it, I said, and pulled the divorce papers from my bag. He blinked. What? You'll sign. You'll return every dollar. You'll pay alimony because you committed fraud. And if you fight me on this, I'll go to your employer with everything. I've already spoken to a lawyer. He stared at the papers like they were burning. I'll ruin you if I have to, I said quietly. You chose this. Now you live with it. The silence that followed was suffocating. Then Lena dropped one last hammer. Mom knows. Nathan's eyes widened. What? I told her everything, she said. She didn't even argue. Just said one sentence. He swallowed. What was it? Lena smiled coldly. He's not my son anymore. Nathan stood up fast. I need air. You need a conscience, I snapped. He left without the wine, without the bottle, without a word. That was the last time I saw him. The divorce moved fast. The evidence was airtight. The lawyer Lena connected me with was ruthless, smart, and efficient. We recovered every dollar I'd sent under the lie of Lena's debt, plus additional alimony due to deception and emotional damages. The settlement left Nathan reeling and broke. Clarissa dumped him within 2 weeks. His firm cut his pay and reassigned him to a back-end team in another city. I heard through a mutual friend that he's sleeping on a coworker's couch. I didn't care. Lena and I kept in touch, closer now than we ever were when I was his wife. Last week, she sent me a package. Inside were 2 plane tickets, Caribbean cruise, balcony cabin, 10 days, all inclusive, and a note. You've earned your peace. Let's go get it? I smiled for the first time in what felt like months. I don't know if I'll ever fall in love again, but I know what love doesn't look like now. It doesn't look like silence, or secrets, or stolen money. And it definitely doesn't look like a man who fakes his sister's pain to fund his own betrayal. This time, the sand and sea are real, and for the first time in a long time, so am I.